Tonight, we're going to be talking about fallacies. For the month of September, we're going to be talking about all kinds of fallacies. We've got a selection of fallacies we're going to discuss. Now, your question, especially logical fallacies. Now, if you're asking what a fallacy is and what is the difference between a fallacy and a logical fallacy. A fallacy is basically just a mistake when you make a mistake when you're talking or whatever. But a logical fallacy is a mistake in reasoning. So there's all kinds of logical fallacies and all kinds of mistakes someone can make. But when you make a mistake in your reasoning, then your logic is broken or not connected. And it's like trying to do a math problem and you come up with the wrong answer. That would be a mathematical logical fallacy, as it were. But it's all happening inside your brain. But tonight's logical fallacy we're going to be talking about is the bandwagon fallacy. Now, the bandwagon fallacy is basically... Oh, I'll give you a brief example here. Well, everybody knows that God exists because there's so many people who believe in God. That would be a logical fallacy. That's the bandwagon fallacy. Because you think just because an opinion is very popular, that does not necessarily make it true. Or just because everybody likes Brussels sprouts, that means that Brussels sprouts are really good for you. No, that's another logical fallacy. Brussels sprouts may be good for you, but just because everybody likes them doesn't mean that they're good for you. So we're going to start the timer with Connie here. The timer is right here. Here we go. And the timer starts now. Connie.
Well, it's an argument that is related to the red herring. And I thought it was really interesting that today Fox News host was posted, there was a thing on the Raw story. She's tired of atheists' demands for freedom of religion because they don't have to live here, and trying to basically claim that, well, this country is based upon God and belief in God, and so everybody can get out. You know, the ad populum is also quite widely used in advertisements. It's like, everybody, 9 out of 10 people, use Crest or to brush their teeth. That's not 9 out of 10 dentists recommend Crest, for toothpaste. And just because, but then again, everybody used to think that the earth was flat. So,
oh, yeah.
If we went by that, then, okay, obviously the earth must still be flat.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You mean the earth's not flat? Damn. I wanted to jump off the edge and see what happened. I'm just kidding.
Well, it happened in the movie Sinbad. And
well, yeah.
That's actually quite a good animated feature, but that's neither here nor there. But it's fiction.
That's right. It's fiction.
Yeah. It's interesting because it sounded a lot like a few other fallacies. It kind of bleeds into them. But yeah, just the argument that, hey, everybody else is doing it, Everybody else thinks this is true, so it must be true.
Yeah. And that's just not the case.
No, groupthink.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's a groupthink. Most people, they get together and say, "Oh, well, this has got to be true because we all think it's true."
Yeah.
So it's got to be true. No, that's not how logic works. It's based on a series of events that that makes sense. Like I said, it's like a mathematical formula.
Right.
Joe, what are your thoughts on this? Joe, oh, do I have you muted? I'm sorry, Joe. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you had me muted.
I did not realize.
I was saying things to you in the last story. I'm like, they can't hear me. They can't hear me. I replugged so many times.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. I'm sorry. I forgot I had you turned off because it was echoing. Sorry about that.
All right, no problem.
Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, I think the bandwagon fallacy is a fallacy because most people that understand logic agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for that insight, Joe. A little bit more would be helpful. We do have 4.5 minutes left.
Well, I don't have a whole lot to say about this, although it is one of my favorite fallacies, and I do hear it pretty often. The first time I heard it was years and years and years ago. I was dating this young woman, and she was Christian. She asked me what my religion was, and I might have told you the story before, Packard, but she asked me what religion I was, and I said, well, I'm atheist. And she was like, oh, which one is that? Thinking it was like a denomination. And so I was like, no, it means I don't believe in God. And so she immediately was like, well, of course there's a God. Most of the people on the planet Earth believe there's a God. And so
Christ.
I was like, oh, yeah, I know. And most of the people on the planet Earth can't agree on which God there is.
Right.
And some of them have more than one gods, and some of them have demigods and undergods and all these other gods. So yeah, the bandwagon fallacy is not proof of anything.
No, exactly that. If you're going to get on a bandwagon, go to the one that plays music. No, I'm just kidding.
Circle the bandwagons. We will defend our position.
Yes.
And if you want to get more on this logical fallacy, they have a site that has, and other ones, they have a whole list of these things. There's one site's called yourlogicalfallacyis.com. As a matter of fact,
which is a great website.
Yes, it is. We have a set of series of logical fallacies that are going up a little bit at a time, and they're up on the Packard Pokes At /YouTube, or YouTube/Packard Pokes At, rather, and youtube.com/Packard Pokes At, and you can find some videos we're going to be making there that are being pushed out slowly, having some there. But anyway, we got about 2.5 minutes here. We still got to cover.
This segment brought to you by yourlogicalfallacyis.com /bandwagon.
If only. But another thing about the bandwagon fallacy is that so many people use this in ways that you don't really expect, because they'll try to hide it in something else, and then once you hear it, you will know exactly what it is. There's a lot of other fallacies out there. Let me give you a quick history of the fallacy here, so we can fill time. It says that Aristotle was both the first formal logician codifying the rules and correct reasoning, and at first informal logician categorizing types of incorrect reasoning, namely fallacies. He was both the first to name types of logical error and the first of the groups and the categories. Now, the results are in a book called On Sophistical Refutations. So, fallacies are damn interesting things. The bandwagon one especially, I mean, just because you think, again, I'm kind of reiterating this because there's not a lot to talk about on it, but because you think that because everybody else around you thinks the same thing doesn't mean it's necessarily true. You need to step outside, away from what everybody else thinks is true, and see if the premise of what you actually believe is actually true. Otherwise, you're getting into this fallacy, and you're just gonna somebody help me out here.
Well, what I have to say is that I think that this fallacy, why it works so often and for so long, I think that it actually is something that our ancient ancestors adhered to, is that it kept the population safe. I mean, if you see the skies rolling in thunder, and whether or not you think that that's the gods, getting angry or whatever, it kept you safe because you kept out of the rain, you kept out of the lightning, and so that there's some times, if you go in the water and every now and then somebody, gets attacked by sharks, for example, the idea that you should be careful at certain times of day when you go hunting, whatever, those kind of things kept the population safe. But the more that we understand things, the less we have to be afraid of things in general. So the groupthink is really a kind of a knee-jerk reaction that we have, I think, as human beings. There's a reason that we have it. It's sort of like why we're afraid of the dark.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway,
sorry.
Hey, did that help?
Yeah.
So,
it helped fill in the last 30 seconds there.
Yay!
So.
That was filler.
But overall, logical fallacies, they're very interesting. Please go and look them up, and we'll be posting some a little at a time. So.
From yourlogicalfallacies.com, you can also, or yourlogicalfallacies.com, you can also get a poster that has them all on there.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, I think it's like $30 or something like that. But
they used to invite people to download the PDF and you could print your own, but then they realized, they got reports that people were actually spending a lot of money printing one poster from this PDF file, so they actually was like, all right, you know what, let's batch produce our own posters and just sell them for affordable amounts of money. They have different sizes, right. And I can't wait to get one myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yay.
So
that's his wish list, everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, for Christmas this year, I want the fallacy poster.
You'll get
he wants a mug from
walls.
Packard Pokes At from Cafe Press right here.
There we go. He's still waiting for his thong, I think.